Hello, everyone. Hope you all had a fun-filled Monday. As for me, it was not too bad, and got a lot of done at work. And being that it is Monday, means spooky places. And this week we shall visit one place that is, let's say, very spooky. It is the Cottage Plantation in Baton Rouge. The cottage was built in 1824 by Colonel Abner Duncan as a wedding gift for his daughter and her husband, Frederick Daniel Conrad. The house had 22 rooms and was considered one of the finest in Baton Rouge area. The Union Army took over the plantation during the Civil War and used it as a hospital to treat the yellow fever outbreak. As the years passed and the family died off, the cottage stood empty. People who lived nearby said it was haunted. No one would go near the house after dark, fearing that Holt's ghost was still there. There were reports of doors opening and slamming by themselves and sightings of apparitions on the grounds. These shadowy figures were often seen, but when investigated, the place was found to be empty. In the 1920s, the Conrad family began a restoration of the house. Luckily, thanks to the rumors of ghosts and yellow fever, the house had managed to survive fairly intact throughout the years. In the 1950s, the house was opened to the public and served as a museum to the memory of the Old South. It attracted a deal of interest, and artists came from all over the world to capture the flair of the South before the Civil War. It was also used as a set of several movies, including Cinema Holiday and Band of Angels, starring Clark Gable. During these days, the rumors of ghosts still persisted. Some visitors would report the sounds of singing and strange music in the house and on the grounds. It seems that in the heyday of the house before the war, the Conrads would often entertain their guests by having their slaves sing for them and play music. Now, nearly a century later, the sounds of the music could still be heard at the house, a residual and ghostly echo from another time. Other visitors had their own encounters with Mr. Holt. He was said to be seen walking through the house, pulling at his long beard and mumbling to himself. One reporter for the Elks magazine even photographed the ghost by accident. He was doing a story about the cottage, and after having his film developed, he noticed the image of an old man looking out the window. He was sure that no one had been there at the time, and after showing it to staff members of the house, they identified the man as Mr. Holt. On a February morning in 1960, the cottage burned to the ground. The firemen who were at the scene would later report a very strange incident. It seemed that while they were directing water in the house from the side garden, a man appeared in the upper window of the house. The firefighters directed him to jump, but he never seemed to notice them, or the fire that was all around him. The roof suddenly collapsed and the man was gone. After the fire was put out, they sifted the debris, searching for the man's remains, but they found nothing. There are nothing but ruins now where the cottage once stood, but there are people who still venture out into the land and claim to hear the sounds of music and singing there. They also claim to encounter the ghost of Mr. Holt as he wanders about the property, perhaps still imagining life the way that it was many years ago. Well, I hope you enjoyed the tales, and wishing you all a spooky night.